It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to.
I won't say his name.
Whitney Houston and Bobbi Brown's daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, has been gone for a long time. However, according to her father, the circumstances surrounding her death still don't make sense. Like many others, Bobbi has repeatedly spoken about how Chrissy's ex...
I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobbi Kristina.
What killed Bobbi Kristina?
Bobbi Kristina was starved to death.
Do you approach that?
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all over.
But allegedly, there's so much more to the story. Word on the street is that Chrissy knew what happened to her mom, and the eerie similarities between their deaths may have been planned. Honey, I've also heard a lot about how she was present during many of her mom's arguments with people like Clive.
And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
So, what exactly did Chrissy know about her mother's death? Was it connected to her own? Let's get right into it. For a bit of background, Bobbi Kristina Brown grew up in front of the cameras, often appearing alongside Whitney. When she was just 8 months old, she was featured in an interview with Barbara Walters. At 1 year old, she appeared on stage at the 1994 American Music Awards when her mother accepted an award. When Whitney passed away, Chrissy was one of the people who suffered the most. She was even hospitalized after experiencing a breakdown when her mother's body was discovered in a Beverly Hills hotel room. Despite her grief, she put on a brave face for Whitney's funeral and memorial services in the days that followed. Whitney's death thrust Chrissy further into the spotlight. While her family attempted to protect her, she eventually pursued opportunities in the entertainment industry. She joined and later left a Tyler Perry series, appeared at the Billboard, Music Awards, and even gave an interview with Oprah, among other public appearances. Sadly, Chrissy didn't live long enough to continue her mother's legacy. On January 31, 2015, she was found unresponsive in the Georgia home she shared with Nick Gordon, unconscious in a bathtub, just as her mother had been. She passed away in hospice on July 26, 2015. The Fulton County Medical Examiner ruled her death as a combination of drowning and intoxication. Toxicology reports found marijuana, alcohol, a cocaine-related substance, sedatives, anti-anxiety medications, and morphine in her system. However, officials were unable to determine if her death was intentional or accidental. They stated that the underlying cause of death is the condition which starts the downhill course of events leading to death. In this case, immersion associated with intoxication. Pneumonia and encephalopathy, which resulted from the immersion and drug intoxication, were listed as contributing factors. Chrissy's death drew striking parallels to Whitney's. Whitney passed away on February 11, 2012, at 48 years old. She was also found unresponsive and submerged in a bathtub inside the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Reports stated that Whitney's death was due to accidental drowning, and toxicology results revealed a small amount of cocaine in her system. There were also traces of Xanax and other substances. Official reports suggested that Whitney may have suffered a heart attack due to arterial hardening, causing her to lose consciousness and drown. However, there were inconsistencies in that narrative. The coroner did not find evidence of a cardiac episode, meaning the heart attack story was likely a cover-up. In fact,
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobbi Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beat. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
Ray J was the last person publicly linked to Whitney Houston, but their relationship was never steady, and they never officially admitted to being a couple. On the day Whitney died, Ray J claimed he wasn't at the party. However, multiple accounts suggest he may have been lying. In fact, one witness stated that Brandy was asking about her brother at the party. If Ray J wasn't there, why would Brandy be looking for him in the first place? People also started side-eyeing Ray J when he, Raffles Van Exel, and Brandy Burnside were seen hurrying out of the back of the venue that same evening. What made this even more suspicious was the fact that Raffles never liked Ray J, so why was he seemingly helping him sneak out? To make things even more interesting, shortly after Whitney's death, Lola Brown, the sister of Whitney's ex-husband Bobby,
I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? I looked and I said, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding his face? He's always trying to show his face when he's around Whitney. Why now? Why are you trying to hide now, Ray J? And I put it all together. When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag. Yes, I promise you, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I saw Ray J. And
it also doesn't help that before Whitney died, she slipped a note to Ray J's sister, Brandy, during an E! Interview with Brandy Monica and Clive Davis. To this day, Brandy refuses to reveal the contents of that note. In another E! Interview, when asked about it, Brandy said, "I'm going to just not say what it was and keep it to myself for my own personal reasons." But many people believe Whitney intentionally gave Brandy the note on camera, just in case something happened to her. In fact, when Whitney passed the note, she kept engaging with Monica and Clive, seemingly to give Brandy enough time to read it. It just doesn't make sense that Whitney would interrupt a recorded interview just to say hi, while soaking wet yet fully clothed, only to hand Brandy a note and kiss her at the end. If you listen carefully, you can even hear Whitney say, "I nearly drowned today." Additionally, people have pointed out that Brandy is usually open about good things, but when something is bad, she refuses to talk about it. This has led many to believe that whatever was written in that note was something serious. Brandy's facial expression when Whitney handed it to her said it all. Many have speculated that Bobbi Kristina eventually found out what really happened to her mother.
And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
There have long been theories suggesting that Clive Davis may have been involved in Whitney Houston's death. If Bobbi Kristina was present during some of their arguments, then best believe she may have overheard things she was never supposed to hear. And let's not forget, Whitney just happened to die at a party hosted by Clive. Child, that doesn't make sense at all. The circumstances surrounding Bobbi Kristina's death and the eerie similarities to her mother's passing have also never added up, especially when it comes to her relationship with Nick Gordon.
Between her and Nick Gordon.
This is a young man who swears to God that he loves my niece, but yet you drag her up the steps, you pull her by her hair. You pull her by her hair and you punch her in the face and you knock 2 of her teeth out of her mouth.
Apparently, Bobbi Kristina was planning a trip to LA to celebrate her dad's birthday with their family. It was also set to become a permanent move so she could be closer to Bobby and focus on her career. Reports say she was excited to continue her mother's legacy and was looking forward to rebuilding her relationship with her father. But Nick didn't want her close to anyone because he knew that as soon as she left, everything would be over for him. Reportedly, she was even supposed to meet up with a friend the same day she was found in that tub to tell them that Nick wasn't the man she thought he was. According to those close to her, the day she planned to confront Nick about her move, she was under the influence and upset. When Nick returned home, they argued, and he allegedly attacked her before leaving her alone in the room. That's why she reportedly suffered BR, brain damage or respiratory distress perhaps. Shortly after Bobbi Kristina was moved to hospice, CARE, her court-appointed conservator, filed a complaint against Nick Gordon, seeking justice on her behalf. The complaint accused him of causing substantial bodily harm and stealing money by pretending to be Bobbi Kristina's husband. Later, an amended complaint was filed, accusing Nick of wrongful death. It claimed that after a heated argument, Nick gave Bobbi Kristina a toxic cocktail that left her unconscious before placing her face down in the bathtub. According to Bobbi Brown, Nick Gordon was present during both Whitney's and Bobbi Kristina's deaths, and he strongly believes Nick may have been involved in both. However, Nick denied the allegations and even claimed that Bobbi Brown was the one to blame for his daughter's death. Unfortunately, Nick also passed away a few years later, leaving behind more questions than answers. To this day, no one knows for certain whether Whitney and Bobbi Kristina's deaths were related or if they were planned. So, what do you think?